Our speaker tonight is Alex Green. He's the investment director of the Oxford Club, a Wall Street veteran. He has over 16 years of experience as a research analyst, investment advisor, and professional portfolio manager. Under his direction, the Oxford Club's portfolio has beaten the Wilshire 5000 index by a margin of more than 3-1. The Oxford Club Communic, whose portfolio he directs, is ranked third in the nation for risk-adjusted returns over the past 5 years by the independent Hilbert Financial Digest. Mr. Green has written for Lewis Rukeyser and several other leading financial publications. He has been featured on the O'Reilly Factor and has been profiled by Forbes, Kiplinger's Personal Finance, CNBC, and MarketWatch.com. He is also chairman of Investment U, an internet-based research service with over 300,000 readers. He currently writes and directs the twice-weekly Oxford Insight e-letter and 3 elite trading services, the Momentum Alert, the Insider Alert, the ADR Alert. And Mr. Green is also a top-rated speaker at financial conferences around the world. Without further ado, here he is, Alex Green.
Hello, and welcome to Yes. My first time here, and I'm glad to be a part of what's going on. I have to say that when I was starting out, I guess this is probably 25, 28 years ago, as a young entrepreneur myself, I really kind of regretted the fact that it's a shame that you go through school. I mean, I was a business major in college, and I knew everything about what a corporate hierarchy was, but you get out of school and you know nothing about starting a business, running a business, how to run your life like a business. And so I think it's really great that you guys are here to learn something about what it means to become an entrepreneur. Now, I'm a little bit unusual in that I don't, even though I'm self-employed, I don't run a business, I don't have any employees, I don't have a factory, or all the things that a business owner usually has, but my entire life I've run my business life like an entrepreneur. So I thought what I could do, that I could share with you tonight, is to talk to you a little bit about my own experience, the various jobs and roles that I've had, and because we've got a small group, rather than my just giving a speech, so to speak, I'd rather it was kind of a dialogue. I'll tell you about what I've been doing, and if you want to stop me or question me or object to what I'm saying, feel free to do so. But I wanted to start by saying that a few years ago I was down in Key West, and I took with several of my buddies. And as those of you may know who've been to Key West, there's not a whole lot to do during the day, and we decided to go out and charter a deep-sea fishing boat for the afternoon. So we went down to the dock, and we walked along, and we were talking to various boat captains and asking them, how the fishing was and what the rates were and so on. And each one of them was telling us the fishing was great. We needed to book them as soon as possible so we didn't miss out and didn't not end up going out with them. And so but we were in a hurry, so we didn't really book anybody. And we got toward into the dock, and there was this old boat captain, and he's sitting up with his feet up, propped up, and he's smoking a cigar and drinking a beer. And so I said, how's the fishing? He said, the fishing's been great, but the catching hadn't been so good. And we all kind of looked at each other, and we're kind of stunned because we'd heard that the fishing had been great all the way down the dock. And I said, well, that isn't what we heard from everybody else. He goes, yeah, I know. And he just goes on puffing his cigar. And so now we're kind of confused. And I said, well, why is it that the fishing hadn't been so good for you? And he says, well, the weather's been unseasonably cold, and that's affected the migration pattern of the fish, and they really just haven't shown up yet. Nobody's catching anything. And we all kind of looked at each other. There's like 6 of us, and we're looking around going like, well, this is the only guy who's really told us the truth, and so now we're trying to decide whether we want to go out or not. We said, like, gosh, who wants to go out and get nothing more than about a seasickness and not catch anything? Well, we talked about it. We thought, like, we not got nothing else going on, so we'll go out. Well, we all decided we wanted to use this guy because he was the only one who really leveled with us about what was going on. So we booked this guy. We show up the next day, and we go out, and despite his laid-back demeanor, he and his mate gave great service. We baited the hook, took us out and whatever, and for the first couple hours, sure enough, nothing. Didn't get a nibble. And then, all of a sudden, the water just turned yellow with mahi. It was like huge schools of fish, and all of a sudden it was like fishing at Cast-a-Line Trout Farm. Every time we threw our line in, we were reeling fish in, and by the end of the day, we caught so many fish, our arms were tired. We couldn't even pull any more fish in, and we got back to the dock, and we're giving fish away to the crew, and there's complete strangers in the dock, because we couldn't fit them all in the cooler. Now, we could have gone out and we could have just struck out like he suggested that we would have, but we didn't. But the reason we wanted to use him is because he was the one guy who told us the unvarnished truth about what to expect when we went out. If we could have gone out there and gotten shut out, we could have lived with it. But at least he didn't blow a bunch of smoke up our skirts about how great it was. Well, the reason I tell this story is because I don't have a book to sell or a tape or a business for you to join. I have nothing for you to belong to or buy or whatever. I just thought you might benefit if I just told you the straight scoop about what I've found, a lot of things that I've learned the hard way that you might benefit from. And I have to say that my experience is probably a little bit unusual. Right now, what I do is I work as a financial writer. I write for a group called the Oxford Club. Now, the Oxford Club is the world's largest financial fellowship. We have over 75,000 members, and most of them in the U.S., but some are in Europe and Canada and around the world. And we give investment advice about what the best way is to run your portfolio. In fact, I often say that our objective really is to show people how to achieve and maintain total financial independence. Because the way I look at it, the idea of becoming wealthy is not to have a bunch of stuff. It's the freedom to do whatever you want, wherever you want, with whomever you want. If you can make those decisions.